Hey Prosper, welcome back to another episode of Member Series Monday, where you get the opportunity to meet our amazing Burn Bootcamp Prosper members. And today I've got Kelsey with me, who has been a member with us since 2020, actually 2029, our parking lot days. And she is still here and we're excited to chat with her. She's a chiropractor. Her and her husband own a office in Salina. It's called True Light Chiropractic. And we're going to talk about all things burn and all things chiropractic today with you. Welcome, Kelsey. How are you?
Good. How are you? Good. I appreciate you having me on.
Yes, I'm so excited.
Yes.
It's going back to 2019.
Yes.
November 2nd was our very first pop-up camp.
Yes.
And you and Colton came.
Yes.
I remember we met.
Mm-hmm.
There were a lot of people. And
there were a ton of people.
I feel like we instantly connected.
Yes.
And then, oh, I'm so sorry. And then you've been a member with us since then. And walk me through your journey at Burn.
So when I originally came to the pop-up camp, I was looking for a community and somewhere where I felt comfortable working out. I had tried a few other places before you had opened. And so when I saw the pop-up camp here, I was like, we've got to go. And of course, I always have to take my husband with me. When I first go somewhere, I'm like, you got to be my partner in crime.
Of course.
And it was a cold day. I remember my picture here has, I have a headband on because it was so cold, but it was amazing to see how many people you had show up. I loved the trainers. I loved the workout. And so I came to a few other pop-ups waiting for you to open. I remember we went to the daycare and Prosper.
Yes, we did.
And then we got connected and realized that we had a business. So then we were able to host a pop-up at our office, which was amazing on New Year's Day.
Yes, and we did. Were you the one watching the kids?
Yes, I was watching the kids up in our office.
Oh my gosh, I remember that.
Yes, and then just waiting for you to open. I know the pandemic was just kind of a wrench thrown in everything, but once you opened your doors, I knew immediately that I was going to sign up and it was somewhere that I was going to really enjoy working out. And I've been here ever since.
So New Year's, I think it was 2019, right?
Yeah, 2019 to 2020.
2019 to 2020. And yes, we did it in your parking lot.
Yes.
And you were watching the kids.
Yes.
And now you're a mom.
I am a mom now. Yes, as of last April.
April. Yeah. How is motherhood?
It's been amazing. Definitely a transition, but a beautiful blessing and a learning experience along the way. But it's been fun to watch your heart be outside of your body and then being able to watch him grow and thrive and develop, and being healthy myself is an important part of us growing up. My husband is really into fitness. We're really into health and wellness. So we want to be an example for him as he grows up. So it's really cool that he gets to come here with me, watch me work out, put myself first. Yeah. And then he gets to go home with me after he's had a little bit of fun.
Yeah. And it's never too early to teach them.
No.
You know, how do you juggle the whole, so you're a small business owner, right? And you and your husband run the show.
Yes.
You guys have a smaller team like we do.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work, right?
It is.
And I think from my perspective, the more you grow, the harder your role gets because it's tough.
You're a leader.
Right, you're a leader. So many people are watching you. Now you throw in a baby, which is the best thing. How do you handle entrepreneurship, mothership? It is a mothership.
It is a mothership.
Motherhood, right? Being a wife, right? And you guys live in Frisco. Your business is in Salina.
We actually moved to Salina, so that's been much better.
I love it. I'm glad we're catching up right now.
I know. It's been a lot. You know,
it has been a lot
that have happened.
Yes.
But I feel like the biggest thing to be able to handle all of that is, one, having a good support system. So having a husband that's very involved is helpful. So he helps out around the house. He helps us maintain our household. And then obviously the business side of things. And we both have our separate roles. So it really helps to be able to divide and conquer. Yeah. And then prioritizing your time. My planner is my best friend right now. So I'm only part-time in our office, but I do work outside of the office on the business. You know how much there is to do when you're not here.
Correct.
So I have to really do schedule blocking and know basically every 15 minutes what I'm doing. And then throwing a baby who did not sleep his whole first year of life, it felt like, has been a huge change for me and a challenge, but a fun one, and one that you just learn and grow and adapt. So I feel like having that support system, following a schedule as best as I can, but being willing to allow unpredictability into my life. And then just having grace for yourself too. I feel like that is something that he has taught me. patience and grace. And it's been a great lesson that I needed to learn.
Yeah. Grace, I think that's tough for moms, I think, because we don't give ourselves that grace. It's just, so I'm glad you mentioned that word. I want to talk a lot today about chiropractic care.
Yes.
Okay? So you've been a member at Burn Boot Camp. You guys have been in fitness industry for the longest time, right? The amount of workouts that we do at Burn and the type of workouts we do at Burn, there's people who get injured, right? And not even the injury, but talk to me about the importance of chiropractic care. And a lot of people don't, I think a lot of people think that you just go there if you have a back injury, for example. Hey, my back's hurting. I'm going to go to a chiropractor and it's just going to be fixed.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yes. We get that a lot.
Right. And I don't think it works that way.
No.
So I want you to share a little bit about chiropractic care with our Burn members. And yeah.
So I have noticed how being physically active regularly, how chiropractic care really helps enhance my life and allows me to do the things that I want to do. I mean, we have a very physical job, especially with the patient load that we hold at our office, which is such a blessing, but it's a lot on your body. So being able to stay strong, maintain your physical strength, your stamina is so important, not only for my job, but just for any mom. I think working out and having a place that you feel comfortable is one of the most vital things that you can do for yourself to not only be healthy for you, but your family, and then being able to maintain as they grow and stick with them. For chiropractic care specifically, we do have a lot of people that have the misconception that you have to have an injury to come in. And we at our office are very much wellness centered and wellness based. So we have a large patient base that just comes in for maintenance. They have nothing wrong and they're just making sure that their body's functioning at its best. And the way that we can help that is when we're able to adjust your spine. Movement is life. So if your spine and your body is moving properly, your brain, that's good nutrition to the brain, which helps your nervous system stay in a more balanced state.
Okay.
If things get misaligned and fixated, it sends bad messages to your brain. Your nervous system gets stressed.
Right.
And then you go into a sympathetic overdrive. So that's when you see things like lack of energy, trouble sleeping, improper digestion, because your body's like, I'm stressed. I'm trying to survive. I'm going to turn all my anything that's not helping me survive off, and I'm just going to cruise through this until the stress dissipates. And then it doesn't, because your body's still misaligned and those bad messages are still getting to your brain. So what we do is we go fix those misalignments, allow good messages going up your spinal cord to your brain. Your body can calm down, go into that parasympathetic response. And so that's why when people get adjusted, they experience better sleep, better digestion. Obviously, pain decreases.
Right.
And then we also see more energy levels and being able to recover and go through injuries and illness quicker because their body's more in a state ready to heal. It's functioning at its best and its nervous system is primed to heal.
Okay. I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. So basically, don't wait till you're injured.
No. I mean,
to go to a chiropractor.
Obviously, we can help.
Right. But it's like, hey, I don't have any injuries in my body, so I don't need to go to a chiropractor.
Yeah.
Be proactive
Be
about
proactive.
it.
We always talk about proactive care versus reactive care. It's way easier for us to help you through an injury if we've already been seeing you and your body's in this prime state versus you've built up all this stress. Stress comes from physical stress, emotional stress, and toxins like chemical stress. And you're building that up within your body all the time. And your body doesn't know what to do with it. So it houses it. That's where you develop those muscle tension patterns. Things get out of alignment. And when you have that stress in your body from years and years, decades, us combating that on top of an acute injury that you've just experienced, it's going to take a lot more time and a lot more effort for you and us to be able to get you through that. And a lot of people who have an injury want to get out of pain yesterday. And it's just harder to do that when we're not primed and being proactive about our health versus reactive.
Right. What is one of the biggest, injuries or something that you guys see? Like, do you have anything like that? Like, what's the biggest thing you see in your chiropractic care?
Well, for adults, so we see a wide variety of population. Our specialty is prenatal and pediatric care. So we see a lot of that population. But for adults, I would say our biggest thing is going to be neck pain, back pain, and energy levels, surprisingly,
Okay.
is what people come in with. But most of adults come in, they come in, they're like, I slept wrong, I tweaked my back, and we're able to help with that.
Okay.
But as they go through care in our care plan, we see on their progress exam forms, like, I'm sleeping better, I have better energy, I'm not getting sick, my whole family got sick and I'm not.
Right, right.
And then we see them inquiring about maybe their family members and how we can help them.
Right.
But for kids and prenatal chiropractic care has a lot to do with pain too, because you're just growing a human and there's a lot going on in your body. But for kids, they can't tell you they're in pain most of the time. So we see lots of just general health related challenges with kids, like anxiety.
Okay.
Digestion.
So I'm glad you're asking this. That was going to be my next question. So how does one know as a parent? Obviously, for a lot of our parents, that's not a specialization, right? Because we don't know.
Yeah.
How does a parent know that, hey, my kid needs to go to a chiropractor? Because that could be a scary thing for a lot of people, right? Especially if you have a little baby.
Yeah.
I mean, you're
like, what are you going to do? And
I know.
Totally.
So how do you know as a parent? What do I need to look for signs from my kids to be like, hey, we need to go to a chiropractor?
So we always tell parents it's different for different ages and stages. So babies, we like to look for, are they going to the bathroom regularly, having regular bowel movements? Okay. Do they have a head preference, one side or the other? So when they lay down, do they always look to the right, always to the left? Are they colicky and just uncomfortable? Do they have bad gas? We help a lot with tongue tie and lip tie. Pre and post revision, we're able to release some of that tension in the body. And then a lot of people just bring them in for general wellness because we see the prenatal population. We do complimentary exams on the newborns when they are born. So we get a lot of moms coming in just wanting to be proactive about their baby's health too.
Right. Okay.
And it looks way different on a baby than it does on an adult.
Right.
And so we like to preface parents, because we do have a lot, especially dads, they're a little bit more skeptical. So we like to tell the dads that it's going to look like I'm just holding your baby or massaging their back. But what we're really doing is holding tension points that we find within their body. Right. And we're allowing them to dissipate under our contact points. So it's not going to be twisting, popping, cracking. It's more of a tonal method. And we like to tell people that it's like, if you were to put your fingers together, it's as much pressure that we're putting on that area as it would take to make your fingernail go white. And then we hold it there till it melts, like a cold stick of butter goes to a warm stick of butter. And then we go to the next section and start evaluating up their spine. And I
learned so much. I'm blown away. I love this.
I know. It's so much
I wish
fun.
I had this information when my kids were born. They're 9 and 7 now.
It's such a blessing. And then once they get to toddlerhood up to adolescence, things like recurring ear infections, behavioral issues, trouble sleeping, anxiety, those are all things that we have seen improve with chiropractic care because we're able to downregulate their nervous system, allow their body to jump out of that fight or flight stress state, which helps with behavioral challenges and anxiety. And then for the chronic ear issues and illnesses, their body is in a better state to heal. Their immune system has a better chance of kicking on. And so we're able to help with that as well.
What about, kids, young athletes?
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
So, do you guys see young athletes and how do you determine that, right? Because we have a ton of moms at Burn Prosper
that have
they have kids who are athletes and yeah. So what do you do there?
We will do very similar things. My husband loves taking care of young athletes. So he sees most, especially of like the adolescent boys. And he really helps work with them through injury prevention. So just making sure that everything stays in proper alignment so that when they do go out and play sports, there's no funky tension patterns that will cause knee injuries, back injuries, hip injuries. And then we're also able to help with recovery and stamina. So a lot of times they come in after football practice, and one kid told us this week that a 300-pound kid, he's, I don't know, maybe 8, 9, a 300-pound kid sat on his neck after he got tackled. So his neck hurt. And my husband was able to go through an exam with him and make sure nothing was wrong and then adjust him. And when he came back the next day, he's like, my neck feels so much better. We've helped young athletes with ankle pain, knee pain, growing pains. They come in limping, and within a few visits, they're like, I'm perfectly fine and I can run around. So,
I love that.
And parents are so thankful because they love to watch their kids thrive and play sports. And so being able to keep them healthy, keep them active, and making sure that they're not injuring their body along the way, to provide longevity in the sport that they love is super important.
Okay. So I want to go back. We talked about anxiety in kids, and it's getting more and more,
Yes,
right, by
like
the
the
day.
statistics are so sad. It makes me just sad. It breaks my
Yeah.
heart. That
And
there's
I
so
personally
bad.
didn't know that anxiety could help. Chiropractic care could help with anxiety in kids. Walk us through a little bit of that. What does that look like? I wouldn't even know where to begin.
So the biggest point is really the nervous system, like what we talked about. So their nervous system, we like to go through what we call the bucket analogy. So our bodies and our minds only have so much of a bucket to handle what's coming in. So if you have all of this stress within your body that you can't deal with, and these kids can't deal with, and these misalignments, your bucket gets fuller and fuller. And then you add school, and then you add sports, and then a friend is being mean to them, and all these different stressors, like we talked about, the physical, mental, and chemical, and we're eating bad foods, like our diets are terrible, not by any of our own doing, just what's available to us in the grocery store is not the best. Their buckets get full and then they overflow, and that's where anxiety, behavioral problems, things like that come out. So our goal with chiropractic care is to eliminate what we can in their body. So we fix those misalignments, we adjust them, we allow their nervous system to ramp down, the proprioception, the way that their body or their brain is perceiving their body, and the movement within their body is more fluid. And so it's not having that stress. And so then we take out some of that water in the bucket and just allow it to have a little bit more capacity. So when friends are being mean, things are happening like that, they're not having these emotional, mental outbursts or feeling like they need to recluse into themselves because they have a little bit more capacity to handle everything.
I love that. I had no idea.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's one of our favorite things that we're able to help with, and something that's really close to our heart because Colton, you wouldn't know it now, but really struggled with anxiety as a kid where he did not want to go to school. He would physically make himself sick thinking about it.
Wow.
And he actually got injured in a golf injury in high school and went to a chiropractor for that. And then through going for that, his anxiety dissipated, his asthma dissipated, and all these things started happening. And his parents and him were like, oh my gosh, the only thing that we have changed was going to the chiropractor. And so that's where his journey really started, was
That's
in high
amazing.
school, where he knew that he wanted to help people in that same way.
I love that. I didn't know that
Yeah.
about Colton. That's amazing.
Yeah.
How is there like a questionnaire you ask kids? Like, how do you guys determine that, right? Like, as a parent, yes, we know
Yes.
that my son, my daughter, they have anxiety. What kind of questions do you guys ask? Like, how does that go? Is it the same
So
process like you do for the adults?
a very similar process. We have specific paperwork for kids, so parents fill it out. But when they come in for their consultation, ideally the kids are with them, and we will have some of those conversations of like,
Okay.
what exactly is happening. And then when they start telling us things, we will ask specific questions pertinent to their situation, so we can really gauge where that anxiety is coming from, how it's stemming. And then we can also measure it we have scans at our office. They're insight scans, and they measure the inflammation along your spinal nerve roots. So to tell us where maybe something is misaligned because there's inflammation there.
Right.
It measures your muscle tone and tension, showing us where there's too much tone and tension, not enough tone and tension, telling us how your body and brain are communicating and why like your muscles aren't in the correct pattern. And then we do an HRV, so showing us how resilient and adaptable your body is to stress and where you are on that parasympathetic and sympathetic side of your nervous system. And we do that on kids also. So we're able to see how their nervous system is really functioning. And then from there, we set goals with the parents and the kids. So what are your goals throughout care? And a lot of times it breaks my heart, but I want to be able to go to school and not feel like I'm nauseous, or I want to make it through the school year without getting like, I don't know, those negative stickers on my chart. Things like those are some of the goals that we hear. And then we do progress exams throughout our care plans. And so we're really able to check in on those goals. Parents are able to tell us how things are changing. And then we're able to tailor how we're helping them and what we're doing based on that.
I love that.
Yeah.
I learned so much today. How often do you recommend for adults, right? Like for somebody who's just coming for wellness?
For wellness,
Like,
our
what's
minimum recommendation, because of what we do for ourselves, is 1 time a week. We notice that we feel our best at 1 time a week, and there's studies that have shown that the tension patterns revert back to old ways within 7 to 10 days. So we just like to stay on top of that. But we do have packages for 1 time a week, every other week if that just isn't going to work with somebody's schedule or financially. And then somebody with an acute issue, we usually see 2 to 3 times a week for a month to, I mean, these are severe cases, but up to 6 months, depending on what's going on. So we just tailor everything's very custom. We go through the paperwork, we see what your goals are, how your scans look in that exam, and then we tailor a care plan based on that.
Thank you, Kelsey, so much for your time. I hope you guys got a lot of information. Kelsey and Colton, their office is located in Salina. Go check them out, but we appreciate your time. But as always, we start together, we end together. Give me 2 claps on 2. 1, 2.